Good evening, folks, and a very warm welcome to you wherever you may be. Thank you for joining us here on the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. It's our 8th episode this year, 132 in total, 133, I stand corrected. My name is Tonchi Prusak, and I'm going to be with you for the next 1 hour, and boy, have we got a jam-packed show all ready for you tonight. Well, in Spain, the La Liga hosted the El Clasico earlier this morning, but this Friday night, Geelong will have two, not one, El Clasicos. Barwon will be hosting Bell Park in State League 4, Men's State League 4, and the big one in State League 1, Corio hosting Geelong at Hume Reserve. And we'll be speaking to one of the organisers from the hosting club, the Football Operations Director there at Corio, former president, and a very, very welcome visitor to this show, Mario GREGORIO. We'll be speaking to Mario a bit later on. Speaking of our guests for tonight, we'll also be talking to Michael Anderson. He's the co-coach of the North Geelong Senior Women's team. A bit of a family affair happening there at Elco Park. His sister in the off-season has returned to Elco Park. The Women's State League competition kicked off over the weekend, so we'll be chatting to him about all of that. We'll also touch on a very, very interesting subject. Yes, we saw last week the explosion of girls' junior teams. Also, there's been a large increase, I guess, in the women's senior teams as well. But there's something lacking here in Geelong. Geelong Galaxy are doing very well in VPLW. They've risen to second spot. But, they were in the top-tier NPLW competition a few years back and have not been able to get back into the elite division of Victorian women's football. And why is it? Why is it that we're doing so well from a participatory level? We're struggling just to capitalise on that elite level and take it to the next level, so to speak. Well, Michael's got some thoughts on that, and he's certainly well-versed in the women's game, has been coaching the North Geelong Warriors Senior Women since his retirement from the senior men's team a few years back. Also, speaking of the local competition, the Geelong Region Community Leagues kicked off on the weekend, the senior men's, the senior women's, and all of the juniors, and the mini Roos competitions as well. Lots of football happening around the region, folks. And we'll be speaking to the captain of the reigning Division 1 men's team, Bell Park, MIJO MARINOVIC, who's also been on this show many, many times over the past, 6 years, how long this show's been going for. We'll talk to him about the new season format, the grading phase. How is it being received by the players, by the clubs as well? And we'll look at all the results from the weekend. Folks, a lot to get through tonight. So without further ado, we're going to go straight to our first commercial break. And a big, big thank you to our major sponsor this year, the Gordon. Without the Gordon, we certainly would not have a show this year. So certainly any of your tertiary educational needs that you need, they've got so many different courses. It is not funny. There is a course bound to suit everyone's tastes and desires. Here's a couple of words from our main sponsor, and then it's time for the news desk.
Your future is in your hands. There is a whole world waiting for you, and your choices determine how you will impact it. At the Gordon, we recognise this. That's why we champion hands-on learning. Get your hands dirty. Grab what's in front of you. Learn by doing. Turn your passion, your ideas, and mould them into your creations. You'll be supported the entire way. You'll grow your skills in small classes, guided by teachers who are industry experts. You'll learn in state-of-the-art facilities or out in a real-world workplace setting. Your hands-on experience will increase your understanding and put you ahead of your university peers. You'll graduate work-ready and you'll graduate sooner, with a huge range of qualifications to choose from and support services to enable your success. Now is the time to continue your learning journey. At the Gordon, your future is in your hands.
Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Now, before we delve into all the latest news from the weekend gone by, and we're going to really just go through it very, very quickly. A big cheerio to some parents from the North Geelong Warriors under-13 boys Metro team, whom I spoke to over the weekend and tonight, who showed a lot of interest in our show, in particular to Anthony, Darren and Michelle, Vesna and Daniel as well. And to Darren in particular, who has also become our latest member as well. It only costs $5, folks, $5 per month. And you can sign up just like Darren did moments earlier. And that is, all the details are there down at the bottom of the screen, www.patreon.com/Geelong Region Soccer Show. I'll leave that up just for a little bit longer. And that's right, you can become a member, not very, very difficult at all. Let's all first of all turn our attention to Media Watch. There's been a fair bit of football in the media in the recent weeks or recent times. On Friday, at the bottom there, Barwon ready to bounce back after mauling by Wolves. Barwon got defeated by Keilor Wolves a week earlier, 7-0. And it was a preview of the weekend's action. Unfortunately, Barwon wasn't able to bounce back, and we'll find out all about that very, very shortly. In Saturday's paper, promotion goal for Warriors. Stipe Kump, who is the women's or head of women's football at Alco Park, was saying that well and truly the Warriors want to achieve promotion into next season's VPLW competition. And also spoke about the start of the senior women's, the state league, the women's state league competition, which did kick off last weekend. Warriors rue missed chance. This was earlier in today's paper with the North Geelong Warriors game. The featured story. Alan Barber from the Geelong Advertiser, the photographer, was out there at Alco Park to catch all the action. 1-1 draw. It was the Warriors' first win or first points of the season. But after leading 1-0, some missed chances in the second half and some sloppy play overall cost the Warriors dearly in the end, and they were unable to take all 3 points. In the Geelong Times last Friday, there were 2 articles. One of those, Surf Coast FC honour club supporters with grandstand namings. So Richard Dunn, a former president, and the Pocklington family, who have been heavily involved. Michael, the son, was involved as a coach. He was also involved as an administrator, plays in the local community league as well. But his parents had a business that has been, up until recently when they closed the business, was heavily involved with Surf Coast as sponsors. So a really good news story there, that the 2 grandstands there at Banyule Warrior Reserve have been named after the Pocklington family and after Richard Dunn, the president, who was there virtually from the start. Clinics and presidential lunches. Now, this is a really interesting story. A local football instructor enjoys the experience of a lifetime, and it is all about Robbie Krasick, who owns Kick Academy in Newtown. and he travelled to Timor-Leste, or Papua New Guinea, or whatever it's called these days, and was actually invited by the president to come along to the presidential luncheon, palace, and actually hold a soccer clinic there. We may try and get Robbie on future episodes of the Geelong Region Soccer Show to talk to us about what football enabled him to experience abroad, and he's set to return every 6 to 12 months to hold open football clinics as well. Okay, let's go on to the results now, and let's first of all move along to the Saturday's Victorian Premier League. North Geelong, as we saw, drew against Eastern Lions, Jalou scoring a goal in the first half, and that was cancelled out by the Eastern Lions in the second half. Corio lost 0-2 to Westgate at home. Geelong lost to Ballarat City with a last-minute goal, 1-0. So both those two teams, unfortunately, did not do too well on the weekend. Nor did Geelong Rangers in State League 2. That is, I think, they're about their third big loss. After winning the first game, their last three games have all been quite heavy losses. Reef Mayum scoring the only goal for Geelong Rangers. That was in that 4-1 result. Over the page, State League 4 action. MIJO scored for Bell Park, but it wasn't enough as Melton Phoenix ran out 2-1 winners at home against Bell Park. Barwon lost to Moonee Ponds United. Moonee Ponds United defeated Barwon 4-2. Milton Bailey and Vedran Stojanovic once again getting on the score sheet, but it just wasn't enough for the Blue and Whites. Surf Coast defeated West Point quite convincingly, 3-1. Well, it might seem on the score sheet, Marn, Ikanovic, and Pike all scoring, but Dennis Holt-Greffer, the Surf Coast coach, tells me that they still haven't hit their straps. They are still a little while away, and they're still trying to gel as a unit. Well, that's an ominous warning to the rest of the competition in State League 4. State League 5, well, it started off on Friday night. Lara United under lights, and they are going from strength to strength. Lara United sitting pretty on top of the State League 5 competition standings with 4 wins from 4 games. McGrath got 2 goals, Treblecock 2, and Mayondo scored 1 each in the 5-0 shellacking of Tarneit United. And then it was the time for the Geelong Derby. Deakin Ducks defeated the Surfside Waves 3-2. Bere, Kilimbi, and Reese scoring for the Ducks. Beaumont, Kelly, and G for the Waves. And on Sunday, it was the turn of the women. In the Women's Victorian Premier League Round 4, Geelong Galaxy ascended to second spot on the competition standings thanks to a 3-1 win over Eltham Redbacks. Murray Arredondo and Ogaki scoring for the Galaxy. North Geelong, who are the subject of our first interview tonight, our guest, Michael Anderson, the co-coach of North Geelong, he'll tell us all about this game. Clifton Hill defeating North Geelong 3-0 in the season opener in State League 1. In State League 2, if you remember, Geelong Rangers and Lara United both dropped to State 2 after unable to field 2 teams. So in State 1, you need to field a seniors and a reserves. And they've dropped now to State 2. It was not a good opening day for both the Geelong teams. Geelong Rangers losing to Altona City 1-6. Ali Van Dalen, the only scorer of the Rangers goal. That should be 6-1, not 1-6. Lara United lost to Altona East Phoenix. Yeah, it does look like Geelong Rangers won 6-1, but rest assured, unfortunately, that's not the case. Altona City actually ran out 6-1 winners. And last but not least, Lara United lost to Altona East Phoenix at home, 2-4. Sebastian and Gauchi were the scorers. If we now take a look at next week's fixtures, actually, we'll start off with the VPL. So we'll start at the top of the tree. On Saturday, North Geelong Warriors again at home. They take on Kingston City, Alco Park. At Alco Park, kickoff is 3 p.m. And on Sunday, Bundoora United, who was in North Geelong's division last year in State 1, well, they've been promoted to VPLW. and they will host Geelong Galaxy at the Hillsview Recreation Reserve. Then now we've already had a look at those results. We want to look at the fixtures. There we go. The fixtures coming up in round 5 this weekend. Look at that. Right at the top of the page. State League 1. All roads lead to Hume Reserve this Friday night at 8:15. The big kickoff between Corio and Geelong. State League 2, Geelong Rangers the next day are at home to Altona East Phoenix. Big cheerio to my former co-host of the Football Out West show, Craig Filer, who is now coaching Altona East Phoenix. He'll be in action against Alan Muscat's Geelong Rangers. That game, Saturday at MIJO Reserve, 3 p.m. kickoff. State League 4, as we mentioned, Barwon taking on Bell Park at Grovedale Reserve, 8:30 p.m. on Friday night. Do get yourself down there, particularly if you're from the south of the city. Make sure you rug up. It can get quite cool there at Barwon on a Friday night. Surf Coast hosting Truganina at Banyule Warrior Reserve on Saturday with a later kickoff of 5 p.m. And last but not least, in State League Men's 5, Gisborne hosting Lara United, Bendigo City hosting the Deakin Ducks, and the Surfside Waves will be away to we'll have a bye. They will not be playing this weekend. And we look at then the Women's State League Round 2 fixtures. In State League 1 action, North Geelong taking on Kings Domain. Now, that is scheduled for Elco Park on 3 p.m, but we'll actually find out from Michael Anderson, our guest, next, whether or not that's actually going to be still the case, or as the club has put in a request for that game to be played on Saturday night after the senior men's. So we'll find out if that is the case, and if Football Victoria have accepted that, or maybe it's still in progress. And State League 2 Northwest, as far as the women's competition is concerned, Geelong Rangers hosting St Albans Dinamore. Tough game that for the Rangers at MIJO Reserve on Sunday at 3 p.m. And Sydenham Park hosting Lara United at Keilor Lodge Reserve at 3 p.m. That, folks, brings us to the end of today's news desk. We whizzed through that in about 16, 17 minutes. That's fantastic. When we do return, folks, it is going to be time for our very, very first guest. We'll be speaking to the North Geelong Warriors Senior Women's co-coach, Michael Anderson, about the launch or the start of the Women's State League competition on the weekend. Don't go away, folks. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. I almost did a little bit of a whoopsie there. Accidentally kicked Michael Anderson out of the green room, but he's back. I hope there he is, Michael. Great to have you on the show. Michael Anderson, the co-coach of the North Geelong Warriors Senior Women's team. How are you, Ando?
Good, Tonchi. How are you, mate?
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, mate. Really, really appreciate you coming on the show. First game of the season, a tough one against Clifton Hill at Quarries Park. How did you see it from your end?
Yeah, look, last year's fixtures against them were a tight contest, so we knew it was going to be a tight one going into the game. It was provided what we thought it would. Two teams who were both well equipped and looked to execute their game styles. Unfortunately, probably a day where we just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. I think we hit the crossbar twice, each upright once, and a couple of really good saves from their keeper. And down the other end, just a couple of unfortunate errors and one to goal.
Yeah, but so 3-0 doesn't seem like a fair scoreline, does it? It doesn't reflect the closeness of the contest?
No, it's one of those ones where, I mean, you see the scoreline and you're disappointed, of course, but post the game, there was a lot more positivity around the camp and around the girls, and I think just first game, it's always good to put your best foot forward, take positives out of it, and move into the weeks coming. So yeah, a lot of positives to take from it. Scoreline doesn't reflect probably how the game rolled out. But yeah, really proud of how the girls performed on the weekend.
Let's go through some of the other results in Women's State League One. Kings Domain, your opponent for this week, they lost to Mill Park 1-4. Craigieburn City at home defeated Falconer 2-1. Avondale, they are the hot title favourites. They defeated Caroline Springs 5-0, and Ballarat City defeated Brunswick Zebras at Brunswick in Brunswick 2-1. Avondale, they got promoted last year from State 2, but apparently they're throwing a lot of resources at their women's team. And it is obviously reflected in the scoreline of 5-0 win over Caroline Springs George Cross, another club that sort of looks after its women's team. Are they undisputedly the hot title favourites for the league this year?
Yeah, I think so, Tonchi. I mean, I remember when a couple of years ago when we were State 3 and we played them there, and a team that looks to be very technical, very good football inside, and look to play. And I think coming up through the leagues and trying to keep into that style and that philosophy, they're definitely well equipped to attack State League One, and of course, I mean when you're at State League One, if you're able to invest and put a little bit more money into some of those players, and you're always going to be competitive. I think we've found that the last couple of years, Bundoora last year and Keilor, yep. and likewise with Essendon and Spring Hill the year before. So it is State One is a bit of a tricky league because there's always going to be a club or two that are really invested and pushing and will throw money at the title, and does make it competitive. But there's a lot of good teams in there as well. I mean, Clifton Hill on the weekend, great outfit, and Mill Park as well. Always put up a good contest. It should be an interesting season this year.
Yeah, well, let's talk about North Geelong. You had a couple of departed players that have moved on, but you've also had a few players that have come to the club. And two returnees is Tihana Juric, who came up through the junior ranks and had a stint at South Melbourne in the National Premier League Women's Competition, the juniors there. But also someone who's quite familiar to you, Steph Anderson, the goalkeeper. That's your sister, correct?
Yeah. So, it's been good to have Steph and Tiana come in. Obviously, Steph was kind of our nemesis last year, playing for Lara, and I know her game there. She pulled off a worldie, and made dinner that night all the more interesting with bragging rights. But it's been great to get her across, and she's a great keeper, a great shot stopper, but just enables us to kind of play out from the back and keep the ball and keep possession a little bit more, which is what we want to do this year, is develop a bit more game awareness, game smarts, and kind of build our play up from there. Same with Tiana, I suppose, coming from South, you can tell she's had a good education, footballing education, and all through pre-season yesterday, been really impressed with her output and what she offers us. So I'm very much looking forward to their contribution.
Yep. Now, speaking with people down at Surf Coast, they were hoping to field a team in the State League Women's Competition this year. They decided not to. Rather, they wanted to build the foundations up and build a strong foundation. And they've got some very good talent coming through the ranks in their juniors. Now, that's something that North Geelong has done over almost the last decade, with a lot of planning, forward planning, to really sort of rebuild the women's women's structure from the bottom up. And that's starting to now really reap a lot of rewards, because a lot of the talented youngsters, the teenage girls, are starting to come through the senior reserves and the seniors as well. How far advanced is the plan of North Geelong, the women's, to develop a really sustainable and a strong women's section to the club?
Yeah, Sorry.
Makes sense.
Like
There's a lot of
yeah,
comments there, yeah.
no, that's fine, and it does. We're talking. It's been a 5-6 year project. This really, with Ivan Herzeg, Ahmed, my predecessor, kind of kicking off, and Frank Simovic as well, Vlada Jakic, big contributors to the implementing that foundation to create a strong program, because it starts from the base. It starts from your juniors and good coaches. We're really fortunate to have an amazing array of coaches at North Geelong in the women's. Years gone by, we've had Mio Trupkovic, David Deek, and many others. It helps having players that have played at a high level come in and just instill the basics and within the girls' system. And we're reaping the rewards. I mean, we've had, I think last year we looked at a squad, and 7 girls who started the year in reserves ended up playing senior football. I think it was nearly all but 1, maybe 2 players actually missed out on getting a senior call up. So we've always got girls that are ready to step in. Even on the weekend, we've had 3 young girls that are stepped up from kind of under 16, 17s last year, played reserves, and then were able to come on and make an impact. So we've got depth there, and it's exciting. It's exciting as a coach to look back on the divisions coming through and see excitement, and it's up to us to nurture that and keep the girls engaged. I think that is the most important thing, and to create a culture in which they feel comfortable to come to and enjoy. We try and implement that from top down.
Yep.
And part of that is we have our seniors and reserves train together every session. Parts of it and moments we might split out and do our own thing. And if this reserves coach needs to focus on something in particular, and vice versa, Ahmed and myself, but that culture of combination, and togetherness is really what we try and harness. And you just see the benefits. I know as an older player, when I was playing, you're giving instructions to younger players, and kind of makes you think like, I better do the same. So I find that with our senior girls, they're sharing instructions, they're coaching the girls while they're on the park, but then they're like instilling those behaviours in their own game. And then the young girls are just, their progression is so much quicker in that environment. So it's been really good for us, and hopefully long may it continue.
Now, mate,
we just the one downfall about the loss on the weekend was I think we were the only women's team in North Geelong, or female team, to lose on the weekend.
Oh, really?
So every other female team, won. I know Steve Coombe told me before the game and put the pressure on, so he probably felt it. But I mean, it just shows the amazing culture and women's program that we've created down there, and we're in the years to come we'll reap so many rewards.
Yeah. Now, mate, you've played at the top level here in Geelong for over a decade. You were a stalwart at the North Geelong senior men's team, and then since retirement, I know you had a stint at FC Leopold. So a big shout out to all the FC Leopold. And by the way, FC Leopold, last week and this week we tried to get someone from the club, and they're too busy. They must be the biggest club in Geelong, or they just seem to have all their committee meetings and trainings and everything on a Monday. But a big cheerio out to FC Leopold. Is Nicholas still involved there, your brother? Is he still playing?
Yeah, he's still playing down there, as well as a few of the other boys down there. And great club, great environment. Again, for me, it was just I wanted to pursue coaching a bit more, and the training and times just kind of didn't work out. But Nick's down there. But he's over in I think he's been over in Singapore and Bali, so I'm sure he would have been happy to jump in the country, but unfortunately,
I'm sure he would. But I digress. The whole point of that was to illustrate the fact that you have been on the scene for such a long time at senior men's level, but you've also been coaching, obviously, at how long is it now? 4 years at North Geelong?
I think this is the second year as co-coach with Ahmed.
Yep.
And then I had 2 seasons assisting Ivan.
Oh, yeah, so 4 years, I guess there's no better person to ask than you. And I mentioned this in the intro. we seem to be doing really well as far as participation numbers. The number of girls' teams, junior teams, senior women's teams as well in the local competition has grown from 15 to 19. So that seems to be doing really well. But unfortunately, we've seen in recent years Galaxy drop from MPLW to VPLW. We've seen Lara United and Geelong Rangers, who were last year in State 1 alongside North Geelong, drop to State 2. We saw Surf Coast weren't in the end able to field a team in the state league. So what is it that we're struggling at the moment at that kind of top level, that elite level in this state, in this city?
It's a difficult one to answer because it is the youth level, and we saw fortunate enough to have a look at the expression of interest that were coming through during the off season and interest in joining North, and the numbers are. There's girls out there that want to play, and there's a club for everyone. Is the most important thing. I think sometimes, and what we've found, like in previous years, even this year, is the requirement sometimes to meet the standards to participate. So I know, years gone by, we've had to ask for dispensation around a community team, so that we can field the two State League 1 teams. Now, if we're unable, and fortunately dispensation's been granted, but if that doesn't happen and we've got to find another senior team, another women's team to fill, it does become difficult then to kind of fill all the requirements, and potentially then as a State League 1 team, we're having to drop out of State League 1 and go play kind of community, and then we lose girls that way. So sometimes I think the requirements kind of hinder a little bit, in terms of a club's perspective, and being able to focus in on what we want to create, and develop girls as well.
Is that Ando, in your opinion, is that a case of simply that we might have too much for one team but not enough for two? So we're kind of, as far as women's football is, we're kind of in that intermediate phase of we're growing but we haven't grown enough. Is that it?
Yeah. I think that's where it is. Like we're in a position now where I think, and the men's league felt it as well. I hate to say, but post COVID is there were older players that dropped off. 2 seasons of interruption. And I definitely played in on my mind when I was considering retiring is 2 interrupted seasons to go again. The mental input, just didn't have it, and stepped back. Sorry, not so much away. And I think like that's happened through the women's game as well. The men and the women's game is no different in that sense. But we are seeing, the Matildas is a great example. When they're playing in the Olympics, the men's team misses out. The engagement that we had at the Matildas games here in Australia in the last year was amazing. So, and young girls have really bought into that. So from a young youth level, it's there, and we really need to. It's really important that we keep those girls engaged, and I think through that, it's creating environments that girls feel comfortable to come to, and they're a social group. Like I know, like the girls at North, they will chat from the start of training right till the end, and it's about probably most things other than football. But it's great. Like it's what we want. We want girls to feel connected when they come to the club and feel that there's a support network there. And I think by creating that, you get the engagement in what you're trying to do on the field and the footballing side. And it's a consequence of the good performances that we had last year. I know, we had an incredible group last year that were just so committed to playing. I think creating a good environment, keeping it fun for the young girls, and just instilling those basics, making them feel comfortable on the ball, as many touches on the ball as they can. A long way.
All the attention now shifts to this week, round 2. Now there was talk that the club wanted to shift that to a Saturday night fixture after the men. Has Football Victoria come through with the goods, or is it going to remain on a Sunday 3 p.m. kickoff?
Still pending at the moment, so yet to hear back.
Watch this space,
on the phone constantly to Steve Cook, trying to find out. Given it's this late, I'm going to say that it's probably going to stay to Sunday, and hopefully we can get another game. But again, it's for us, that Saturday night game after the men's just starts to build on that so like the equality, the atmosphere. I know Friday nights when I first joined North Geelong, Friday nights under lights was some of the best times and memories I have.
Yep.
And for the girls to, not be playing on a Sunday arvo, have parents and friends and maybe a supporter base of 40, 50 to potentially play, towards that 100 mark, to pull a crowd, especially those night games. So to play in an atmosphere like that, under lights, it's just so good for the game.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Hopefully we can, hopefully we can get it across and play a handful of games after the men's, and just showcase what we're about as well. Because like I said, North Geelong's been great in terms of their investment into the program, and what we're trying to create, and just to showcase that alongside the men's, we'll just really highlight what the club's about and put it in the light that's meant to be.
Wouldn't that be good? Ando, thank you so much for joining us on the Geelong Region Soccer Show. We really, really appreciate you coming on the show. We look forward to having you maybe throughout the season, just coming on board as well. And we, like I said, look forward to having you once again. All the best for the season ahead. And good. Hopefully that game will be moved to a Saturday night.
Fingers crossed. Cheers, Tonchi. Thanks for having us on.
Good on you. Michael Anderson, the co-coach of the North Geelong Women's Senior Women's team. That's right. After this short break, we'll be speaking local league action, which kicked off this weekend as well, the Geelong Region Community Leagues. And we'll be speaking to the captain of the reigning Division 1 men's champions, Bell Park, MIJO MARINOVIC. He'll be joining us very shortly. Don't go away, folks. Are you too busy running your own business to worry about your financials? Allow J Hill Books to focus on your books so you can focus on your core business. Based in Lara, Geelong, J Hill Books owner, operator and senior bookkeeper Judy Hill has always worked in finance administration. The world of cloud accounting, however, means that clients can be based anywhere within Australia. Currently, J Hill Books services clients from Lara, Geelong, the Bellarine Peninsula and Melbourne. You won't need to come home from working all day and start on paperwork. You can spend your time in other productive areas such as marketing or quoting, or even better, come home and switch off. You will know how your business is tracking as often as you need, whether that is on a weekly, monthly or quarterly basis. You can be satisfied that you are meeting your legal requirements to your staff and to the ATO. And deadlines will no longer be stressful for you. Let J Hill Books take the stress out of running a small business and allow you to enjoy watching your business go to the next level. For more information, visit our website at www.jhillbooks.com.au, or better yet, call us on 0402 469 243 or email us at info@jhillbooks.com.au. And welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. We're now into the second half of the show, and we're powering through this. And just a very, very quick cheerio once again to our newest member, Darren. Darren became a member just moments before the show. Sign up for as little as $5 per month, and there's the website. You receive the exclusive Round Ball by the Bay opinion blog every Friday. Unfortunately, it hasn't been happening the last few Fridays. It's just been so crazy and so hectic, but the subscribers also do receive from time to time exclusive news articles. But there's the website, www.patreon.com/Geelong Region Soccer Show. $5 per month is all it costs for you to become a member of the show, and it certainly helps. Okay, on the weekend, we had the start of the Geelong Region Community Leagues, the local leagues. Some people still call it the WVSA leagues, the GRFA leagues, the Sunday leagues, the pub leagues, whatever you want to call it. We call it the Geelong Region Community Leagues. And to tell us all about, his game and also his thoughts on the new grading phase or the grading system, the captain of the Bell Park team, they were the reigning Division 1 men's champions, MIJO MARINOVIC. MIJO, good evening, and how are you? Welcome to the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
Good evening, Tonch. Yeah, good. Thanks.
Mate, always a pleasure to have you. But let's talk about the weekend. Now, Bell Park has been drawn in Group A, so there are 6 groups for the men's grading phase. And what a group it is! It's almost like the the old clubs, Corio and Geelong Rangers, they fought out a 2-2 draw. And then you defeated Lara United 4-1, and then Barwon had a bye. Now, I'm not too sure. Are they the A teams, the B teams, the C teams, particularly with Barwon? I think they've fielded 3 teams. But let's take your game against Lara United. How did it all go?
Yeah, it went well. We had a good win. We've sort of started where we left off last year with the squad, and we put in a lot of work, and we're looking good. So we had a positive win, and it was good.
Now, if we have a look at the Corio game, Jordan Wader scored 1 goal. I think 1 goal was an own goal, or it's been credited as a 1 goal. Geelong Rangers, their 2 goals were scored by Luis Salmas and Tiago Bonifacio. And then in your game, Lara United's sole goal was scored by Tom Woodyard. And for Bell Park, Andrew Longo scored 1. Marty Collins scored 1. Nathan Munoz scored 1. And our guest tonight, MIJO MARINOVIC, also scored 1. Well done. And what's your thoughts on this new 4-week grading phase?
Well, I think it's good because it gives every club an opportunity to go up to the league, I guess, higher if they do well. So it makes sense. It makes sense. By your results. So otherwise, if everyone sits back, someone just stays in the league like this. Gives everyone an opportunity, and the clubs that are pushing, if they do well and beat other teams, obviously they go up a league. So I think it makes sense.
Yeah. And what's the general consensus from, say, your teammates or some of the players from other teams that you've spoken to? Is the majority of people for it, or are they against this new style system?
Yeah, I think they're for it. What I've heard. So the feedback's been good.
Excellent.
So for all of us, it makes sense. So yeah.
I guess in some games there may be blowouts, but and that's precisely what the grading purpose is there to then put those teams in those divisions that they do belong. Yeah.
Exactly.
And so once the 4 weeks are over, then will they be 10 team leagues, and will they be 18-round home and away seasons? How will it work?
I'm pretty sure what we've been told is yes, once they assess it all, they'll continue on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So slightly different season than previous seasons, is that right?
Yes, but these points, I'm pretty sure they count in as to the league that you get put into. So
okay, yep.
We've been advised. So, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah.
Well, the impetus there is then to make sure that you're winning these games and not sort of taking it easy, which is the way it should be. Yeah. Yeah. Now, mate, you recently competed, and the majority of your teammates competed in the Masters Summer League and ended up taking out the final in a great game. It was a fantastic spectacle. I had the privilege of being ground announcer there on the night, and you played against Geelong Rangers, and it was just a who's who of golden oldies, I guess is the best way to describe it. But how did you find it? Yeah, I mean, you're still quite young and you can quite run, but there were blokes there that were on the wrong side of 50, but they were still having a kick.
That's right, yeah. No, I'm lucky. I'm on the young end of 35, so I was, it's a bit easier for me. But no, it was good. It was good. I bumped into some old faces that I haven't seen throughout the whole summer league. And that's what it's about. And then in the final, being against Scotty Davison, Troy Hardy, that I was much younger. I was playing against them back in the day as well. So and then coming up against them in the final, it was good. You go against each other and you compete, and that's what it's about. And no, it was a lot of fun. Again, we've done well. We got together, us boys. So it was it was good. Like great setup. Well organised, and it was good. And we had a crowd. The games and even the final. It was well organised. Yourself, you were there. It was good. It was good. Bit of Champions League music, walking out.
I was floored by that. Actually, I thought that's a nice little twist. Actually, but I enjoyed the atmosphere. I must admit, it was a beautiful night, but up at MIJO Reserve. But it was just that nostalgia. A lot of people talking. A fella, an ex-Bell Park player, came up to us where we were commentating, and he started talking, and he had this thick Scottish accent, and I started thinking, hang on a sec, you look familiar, you sound familiar. I go, well, excuse me, mate, what's your name? And he goes, I used to play for Bell Park. And that's my bad Scottish accent.
Yeah.
He goes, my name's Tommy Cumming. And I remember watching Tommy Cumming as a kid when he was playing for Melbourne Croatia in the old National Soccer League. And he was sharing his stories about the good old days when he played for Bell Park. And there was a lot of that yarn telling from yesteryear, and people reliving their glory years, and there was 22 players on the field trying to relive their glory years.
Yeah. Right.
But it's good to see, and mate, look, we're just glad to see that the local football league is back up. But before we let you go, Mio, you're also now coaching as well. And so you're putting a little bit back into the game, and so you're this year coaching the Bell Park Under-7 Mini Roos. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yes, like I said I wanted to put back, in, and it's been third year now running on coaching. So since my son started, and so it's been great, fantastic. Loving it. And it's such the development of these boys, and I mean the girls. We've got such great numbers up at the club now, and so a lot of other clubs,
Now, give them a plug, because I'm sure they're going to be watching, or maybe their parents are going to be watching. Off the top of your head, can you name all the team in the squad? The Under-7, was it the Under-7 mixed boys, or how is it go?
No, Under-7, boys. So my team, Joey. So we're called.
Oh yeah, the Joeys. Let's go through them. Can you remember their names? You don't have to say their surnames. You can remember their first name. That's enough.
Put me on the spot now. We've got who we got? We've got Leon. We've got Mason. We've got George. We've got Darcy, Maxim, Sonny, and Raf.
You've done well. You've done well.
Covered them all. Yeah. I've had a lot of numbers. Like this year's been crazy because we all got back and we had such big influx of numbers. And at one stage I had 35 kids, and I was going a bit crazy. Then I slowly I put together another 3 coaches, which has been good. And so, because I'm sort of looking after coordinating the Under-7s, I put together now. So we've got 4 teams of Under-7 boys and 2 girls teams.
Fantastic.
It is. It's great.
Yeah, that is awesome. That is great to see, and it is really, really good. I had the opportunity of jumping out and watching a little bit of community football on the weekend, and it was just great. What a beautiful day Sunday was. It was absolutely stunning. Mio, thank you so much for joining us on the Geelong Region Soccer Show. We really appreciate your input into the local leagues as well as the Masters leagues, and wish you all the best this year.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Tonchi. Thanks a lot.
Good on you. MIJO MARINOVIC from the Bell Park Sports Club. Okay, we're going to take a very, very short break. As I said earlier today, the El Clasico was fought out in Spain earlier today between Real Madrid and Barcelona. But the ones that really count, we've got 2 El Clasicos in Geelong. Bowen hosting Bell Park at Grovedale Reserve. And across town at Hume Reserve this Friday night, Corio taking on Geelong. As I'm told, 2 of the oldest clubs in Geelong going at it this weekend. How good it's going to be. Massive crowd. The last time there was a derby at Hume Reserve, they certainly didn't have the magnificent facilities they have now. So it is going to be an absolute pearler this Friday night. To tell us all about that, after this break, we're going to be speaking with the Corio Soccer Club's Football Operations Director and also their past president, Mario Gregorio. Folks, don't go away. Yeah, very short break, very short notice from one of our sponsors, the Gordon, the major sponsor, that is. And it's now an absolute pleasure to welcome Mario Gregorio from Corio Soccer Club on to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. How are you, Mars?
I'm good, thanks, Tonks. Yourself?
Yeah, very good, mate. Very good. Now, you must be super, super excited about what is happening this Friday. The Geelong El Clasico, the Northern Suburbs derby that's been waiting for, I'm told, 8 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Mate, how is it looking for this Friday night?
Yeah, look, the teams are pretty evenly matched at the moment. We're on 5 points. Geelong are on 4 points. Look, we expect them to come out fighting hard this week because they've got big expectations, being a club in the NPL, and I guess they're pushing to go straight back up into the NPL, and we're trying to establish ourselves in the State One. So, yeah, it's been a while, 8 years. They touched us up twice in 2016 when they had a really good side. So, look, we're pretty confident, but I'm sure they're confident as well. But, yeah, it should be a great game, 8:15 this Friday night.
Yeah. Now, the reserve's kicking off earlier as well?
Yeah, they're kicking off. They're kicking off at 6:15, and the seniors at 8:15.
Yeah. Now, mate, as you said, 8 years ago, or as we said, 8 years ago when there last was a derby there at Hume Reserve, Hume Reserve did not boast the magnificent facilities it does now. Now, you were heavily involved behind the scenes in pushing for council funding, state government funding, and you know it's testament to the hard work you and your colleagues there at Corio Soccer Club did. But what a wonderful facility. That has been a real game changer, hasn't it, for the club? Because you now have a lot of functions there as well, in addition to match day operations.
Yeah, it is. It's like a mini sort of a function centre, I guess. So, meal nights every Wednesday and Thursday, meals when we're playing as well, and also when Geelong Galaxy are playing. But, yeah, we've gone a long way since we were selling beer and sausages and chivapis off a trestle table under the old facilities at the front veranda there with the prison-like sort of gates at the front. So, yeah, look, it's been a game changer for us. Back when we played Geelong in 2016, we had 0 juniors, and now we've got 240 juniors and also Geelong Galaxy playing out there. So, yeah, look, big thanks to the Geelong City Council and also the state government as well.
Yeah, and having Geelong Galaxy there as well has really revitalised the club. Every week there's something going on. There's games there. There's senior women, senior men's, juniors. There's always something going on. What about, we just spoke to MIJO MARINOVIC, and he was taking part in the Masters Summer Comp, and he's also now playing in the local league. What about you, Mario? Are you pulling on the boots, or is that...
Actually, I nearly did on Friday night when... we're playing at 6:30, the Masters team, and 6:15, as usual, there's only about 5 or 6 players, and I thought I had to quickly register and put on the beat. But no, thank God, a few players just rocked up 5 minutes before the game, as always, and 2-2 result, which was quite good.
Yeah,
but hopefully they'll get a few more boys back this week this week. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, look, we're going to talk about this Friday night's game, Geelong and Corio. At the moment, you're slightly ahead on the competition standings in 6th position. As you said, 5 points. Geelong has only got 4 points, 1 win and 2 draws. 1 win, 1 draw, as opposed to you guys 1 win and 2 draws. And they're in 7th position. They've invested quite a fair bit in trying to get back into the VPL 2 competition now, as it is called, no longer NPL 3. They've picked up NPL 2 Golden Boot Caleb Mikulic from 2 years ago. He was the Golden Boot. And I'm also a widely regarded coach in Ante Moric, who's there now. But your coach, Ivan Biskin, I personally reckon Ivan is one of the most underrated coaches in Geelong. He's such an analytical mind, and he's so obsessed with the details. It's going to be an exciting contest, not just on the field as far as the players, but off the field, to see how those two strategists, how they unfurl their teams and all of that.
Yeah.
Is that another thing that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, it is. I mean, Ivan does prepare his games quite well. He's a great motivator at training, also during the game. He's also assisted by Milorad Jelic, who we've been able to pick up as assistant coach. he was an old Corio Geelong United player in the day, and also had a great career with Westgate as well. As he told me tonight, he said, "Don't forget to mention that." 229 games and 55 goals. But Miller and Ivan have built up a great rapport with each other. And tonight they were going through the last week's game when we lost 2-0. And also Geelong had a close loss against Westgate as well. So, look, the teams are evenly matched. Look, I guess they've got probably more profile and bigger profile players than us. They're probably expected to be favourites, but I think we can also put up a great big performance as well this Friday night. We're looking forward to it. The players are looking forward to it. Hopefully we can get the result, because it's important that we do keep in touch with the top six after this week's game.
Is this a trial run, you think, for maybe having, obviously you probably can't do Friday night games, but maybe Saturday night games? I know Geelong has now made it a staple part of their fixture, Saturday night 6 p.m. Kickoff. Is that something that you're toying with, maybe the idea of having Saturday night matches?
Look, even though our lights did pass the state competition compliance of the audit, I feel they're probably just not quite good enough. Geelong have got probably the best lights in Geelong. We are applying for funding to increase the lux and improve the lighting at Hume Reserve. At this stage, it's probably only just a one-off type of thing that we're doing. We'll probably consider it later down the track when our lights, if we do improve our lights. I think that to get good quality games, on a Friday or Saturday night, you do need 200 lux lighting, which Geelong Soccer Club have got. It's probably just we decided to do it. Also, I did notice, I'll sort of tell a little bit of a sort of cheat a little bit, but Geelong and Carlton were playing on the Saturday, and I thought I'd better change our game from the Saturday to a Friday night. So a lot of the boys from the club can go and watch the Geelong Carlton game on the Saturday afternoon.
Oh, goodness me! Let's leave that round ball code to another show.
Yeah.
Now, all jokes aside, speaking of Geelong Soccer Club, only last week I think they completed a lighting upgrade, and I believe their lux now, the lux level at Stead Park is 300 lux, which doesn't exist anywhere in Geelong. That is
exactly. So we've played at grounds where the lux is 100 lux, and it's just not quite good enough. I don't think they have good quality games, and this is a one-off for us. But to get good quality games, it needs to be at least 200, and 300 lux. It's a testament to the Geelong Soccer Club. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Absolutely, mate. We're wishing you all the very, very best. We could speak honestly for an hour with you, Mario, about football, about the local community, and maybe we will do that in a future episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. But all roads lead to Hume Reserve this Friday night, 8:15 p.m. kickoff. Get there a little bit earlier. Have some dinner from the wonderful club rooms there, and take in the reserve action. But it should be an absolute bumper crowd there on hand. Hopefully the weather gods are good. We don't know.
It's going to be 17 degrees. Just everyone get there early, free entry, and also parking is sort of a little bit limited, but just park all along Hume Court there, and you'll get to watch a great game on Friday night.
Yeah, it should be an absolute fantastic one. Cannot wait. That's going to be awesome. We will speak to you again, I'm sure sometime this year. And on that note, all the very best, Mario, for 2024 and indeed Friday night.
Thank you, Tom.
Good on you. Thanks very much. Mario Gregorio, former president of Corio Soccer Club, and he's also the football operations director there at Hume Reserve. Folks, we're going to take a very, very short break. When we do return, and before we do take a break, a big thank you to all of our sponsors. I cannot emphasize how important it is to have these sponsors, and the Gordon Tafe College, they are our major sponsors. We thank them sincerely. And our business advertisers for tonight, Curva Coaching, Highland Turf Sales, and J Hill's Bookkeeping. So any bookkeeping needs, contact Judy Hill from J Hill Books. She'll look after you. Folks, don't go away. We'll be back to wrap up this week's jam-packed episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
The world is yours. So work hard, and you can have whatever it is you want.
Well, that's it for another episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. We thank you very much for being a part of tonight's show, and we look forward to having your company next Monday night. There's a big weekend of football happening locally. Do get out to a game, certainly while the weather's really nice and enjoyable. How good was last Sunday? Oh, geez, if we have another day like we'd had last Sunday, goodness me, it'll be just a shame to stay indoors. On that note, my name is Tonchi Prusak, wishing you all a very good week, and hopefully your team will win this weekend. Good night and enjoy.